I think this is going to cost Kevin a little bit of money. And it looks like he does call. And the 4 clubs on the river doesn't change much of anything for either player. It does bring a flush draw. If someone did have 2 clubs, it would have completed a flush draw, so maybe it will slow down David. It could go check-check, but I think David should be betting for value here. He opts to just check it down and take a nice pot of 259 pounds rather than try to extract a little more value and be put in potential tough spot if Kevin was check raising. And we're getting quite a lot of hands in. Basically, the game is moving quite fast, which is always nice to see. It's great for the players, great for the viewers. The dealers here at Aspers Casino are some of the best in Europe. Very rarely see any problems, and hands get dealt very quickly. And it looks like we have a double straddle, so I'm guessing Kevin is probably involved in that somehow. But let's see.
2-3 pass.
Kevin is usually the one double straddling. He is in under the gun +2.
4 pass.
Under the gun +1.
35.
And Sam with the standard button raise. He can actually, this is actually a good spot for Sam because he should be raising a good amount of his holdings. So when you show up with queens here, you can get away with quite a lot.
Call.
Joseph opting to call with the suited gappers, and Kevin with the suited connectors also calling. And we see 1 heart in the window. Oh boy.
And check.
This is a sick flop. Joseph with 2 pair, Kevin with middle pair,
65.
and a straight draw, Sam with an overpair. I think we'll see, unless there's a raise by somebody on the flop, I think we're going to see 2 calls here, first by Kevin and then by Sam. Sam may opt for a raise here on this kind of board, but then it could put him in a tough spot and a bloated pot on the turn. He's definitely not going anywhere, though, in this hand.
All in.
Wow, that looks like a rather big raise. I don't know if it's an all-in, but I did see a big pile of black chips go across the line. Yes, an all-in for almost 1,000 pounds. You came
what's
back
going on there?
at a good time. Sam raised a button. Kevin, as it is with Kevin, he did a double straddle.
Yep.
Joseph called 35 on the first straddle, and Kevin came along in the second straddle. And then this flop, Joseph bet 65. Kevin called. I'm sorry. It looks like it looks like Sam bet the 65, and then Joseph went over the top. But yeah.
Queens with no spade, really tough decision as well, because obviously you kind of unblock a lot of the draws that may or may not be punting it in on this flop, like a queen 9, a queen jack, all of those potential hands.
I think after he thinks about it, though, he folds. I mean, obviously, his opponent could have a flush draw or something like that.
Jack 9, ace high,
there's too many hands that are crushing him that are doing this as well, and he's not doing this with the stone call bluff.
Yeah, and they are both really deep as well. He'd have to commit 300 big blinds with queens on the flop here. Joe happy with this tank. He knows that he's got him crushed at this stage, I imagine. And
although we did see tanking on middle set before, so
yeah, that's true.
At least he knows his opponent doesn't have top set or 7-9.
Yep.
But he could be tanking with a hand like ace king suited, and then you're happy, but you're not like thrilled.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it? I'm sure he'd love to see the queen's call here, but let's see Sam mulling it over.
I think Sam will find the fold here. If you're thinking this long, you're going through the possibilities. You'll remember that your opponent was in the straddle.
And also Joe did shove with Kevin behind as well, so that kind of increases the likely strength of it. Obviously, if he had like a nutted kind of draw, he might have just flattered with Kevin behind to try and get more money in the pot and maybe make a move on the turn.
And then Kevin's fighting behind probably with his 9-8 suited, so the whole dynamics of the hand would be completely different at this point.
For sure. For sure. So, Sam's bet 65, and Joe, I actually really like the shove here as well because you do rep so many draws with such a big shove. And Sam just in a world of pain now. What to do?
This is what happens in cash games, though. In tournaments, your decisions are a bit easier, stacks are more shallow, but here with
most
stacks
people would
so
have
deep,
punted it in by now in tournaments, right?
yes. He doesn't want to fold, but I think he's going to find the fold. He's been looking down at his cards and not looking at all at his chips. That's sometimes a sign for a player that if they're not looking at their chips, that they're not really thinking on the side of a call. Or a raise if you were able to raise in a situation.
Clock.
What will you guys be doing? Obviously, you can see the cards, but Joe is going to have a lot of draws
30 seconds.
in this stage, so that's why it's a particularly tough decision now for Sam. We have seen Sam be blown off a couple of pots by Joe already, so it does play into the kind of psychological aspect of it. Oh, is this guy just running me over, or what's going on here?
They also know that the stream will be winding down in under 30 minutes as well, so there could always be that as well. I want to get one play off that I can show off to my friends and family.
Oh, and he does commit a stack and shows the queens.
He still has some equity. Maybe they decide to run it twice as well. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it is a big pot, 1.2k in the middle, guys. So I think one of the biggest pots we've seen so far in a 2-2 game. I think probably actually the biggest pot we've seen in the 2-2 game. Sam full of good spirits though.
Yeah,
sees the bad news, but obviously ace, 6 or queen on the river required. Oh, and Kevin would have got there with his 9-8.
Yeah, so look at that.
And good stuff from Joe.
Joe having a really good day now.
Yeah.
He's got up to 1,700. I believe he bled in for 500, if I remember correctly. He wins a couple more hands. He pulls ahead of Franke for the trophy competition.
Yeah, I think I agree with the chat. A bit of a punt, 300 big blinds deep, just to get it in with an overpair there. The only positive I can find is that at least he didn't have like a Queen of Spades blocker or something like that, but a lot of money to be committing with just a naked overpair on that board. And turn and river no good. Joe manages to scoop the lot. Kevin keeping quiet but just thinking, why didn't I punt it in myself? Anybody know the password? Yes, Bill 1999999999997. The password is playoff.
One word.
Playoff, one word, PLAYOFF. Get yourselves in the mix on that. It's no easy fold. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why it's a tank. But for 300 big blinds, I mean, how could you really think that you're doing? Even against a hand like ace-x of spades, you are only a small favourite. So, not the ideal spot. And did mull it over and decided to go with the call. Unfortunate for him, looks like he's reloaded to about 250, maybe 300.
6-7
I could see there. And Joe, he'll be happy with himself. He's made a nice little profit on the game. I can just see him cashing out now, and it looks like we're going to have about 20 minutes of 2-2 action left. Have a short break, and then we'll be back in the mix for some 5-5, including our very own former commentator and star man of the Cash Game Festival, Ryan Davey, who I've just had a chat with. He said he's going to be in the mix, taking a bit of a shot at the 5-5 PLO. Quite a modest man. I think I know that he's played a lot of PLO online. He said it's not his game, so hustling me. So I'm sure he'll be hustling everyone else as well on the table. Dangerous flop. He's never in front. Yeah, UK Poker Room, I think if he's not in front, he's going to have near to sort of 50% equity anyway.
Yeah, that's the issue. Even when he's in front, it's barely.
No one's punting it in with top pair there. You know, he's never really got the guy crushed. And Kevin's going to show the King 5 to take down that kind of medium-sized pot. Happy days for Kev. Comes in with the straddle special with the King 5 off. And Ricardo can't improve. He does improve, but just to a jack, which was a blessing in disguise, as it were. So, he wasn't that deep. Mistaking the graphics early, showing him on 200 more than he had. Okay, so PKR Gremlin at least is up to date with it. He didn't have as much as we might have thought he had.
Then it's probably a call then.
Then it might be a call,
But still, you had Kevin. Kevin's stack was probably close to being correct, so...
Yeah. Kevin's
then
stack.
you're still thinking, but math-wise, it makes it closer. You have to think about your ranges, what percentage he has this, what percentage he has that.
Oh, Nick Mack, that must be a Sky player. I bet Lottie Lou would clean up the 5-5 game, George. Lottie Lou, let's say, an ambitious player in the PLO streets on Sky Poker. Just being nice, you know. Don't want to kill my action in the future.
Raise 10.
Who are you, Nick Mack? Make yourself known.
That's going to be a treat.
I can't wait. I really do love PLO. I think there's such a great depth about the game, such a lot that you can learn. And it does help your No Limit game as well. It's really helped me become a bit more of an aggressive player in No Limit. In my early years, I was definitely way too tight and making mistakes by not ramping up the aggression. And here we see Joe, once again, picking up, after a slow start, picks himself up another premium holding. Ace-King offsuit in the small blind, a very mandatory 3-bet, especially with all that dead money in the middle. Bumps it up to 7x the original raise with 2 overcallers. David had called now, and he's got himself an interesting spot. Does he want to back raise or does he want to call? I don't mind the call either, and Andrew is out. He has himself positioned.
I agree that the call is fine here, based on the stack sizing, based on his image, and based on the fact that he maybe has a read on Joseph now as well.
For sure, and he's quite under repped as well, which is nice, because post-flop there can be a lot of good things to happen for him. So Joe not seeing the best board. I think that call the open and then overcall, the 3-bet squeeze is going to have a lot of pocket pairs. A lot of 7s, a lot of 6s, a lot of 8s, a lot of 9s, a lot of 10s, even jacks in this instance. So Joe bets a sizing where he's just going to fold out all of the broadways, maybe deny some equity to hands like Jack 10, Queen Jack, those kind of hands.
Is he going to raise here, though, you think?
I don't think so, because Joe... Oh, yeah, he is. Wow. Would you raise?
Maybe. I mean, this is kind of like a flop that you're looking for to protect yourself, and then if you call here, you don't even know if you're behind on a queen or a king. Mm-hmm. You don't mind taking the pot down here.
Joe still is completely uncapped, you know. Obviously, it is a spot where he might squeeze quite wide, but I think when you raise there, you may only get action from a better hand. It's tough for him to stack off with worse, maybe 10s. But
that's also true.
It's an interesting spot. Could you explain the Unibet package 1 on the free roll, Tony? Yeah, so if you do win our free roll, we've got a Unibet free roll for a package tomorrow. Is that right?
I'm not sure, but I know 32 Red is running something tomorrow. They're also running something today.
Yeah.
That's for their hardcore grinders. You can get involved in it next month.
The red back.
Maybe you are already a hardcore grinder in 32 Red, in which sign up at 8:30 p.m. today. There's no password. You'd automatically already be qualified. The top 8 cash game grinders of the past month will be competing in a sit and go. The winner gets a €1,500 package, which includes stake money, includes hotel, and some spending money.
The lot, basically, yeah. More than everything you need. You won't need to spend a penny, basically, with that package. And that's the beauty of it, you know. Not only does it get you all of those opportunities with the package, it gets you a week with us in the Cash Game Festival in Sunny Beach. You could maybe choose, I think Rosvedov as well is coming up. I don't think that's confirmed, and there's some talks of Ireland. We have also back to Bratislava, which would be cool. That was a nice place.
What's up?
So Emilio raises things up.
Getting back in the action. Were you in the booth when Emilio kind of went a little bit race crazy? I mean, Emilio did show another gear, which was nice. She did show that she could also take down post flop without anything. It seemed like for a little while she was using her image as a very, very tight player to her advantage.
Oh, nice.
To what she said before in the bio, that
she has that ability.
Unpredictability. Yeah, I would have had a hard time adjusting to that from her based on how much of a rock she was early.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it looks like that she's very aware of what's going on then, and that's a very key skill to have going through the gears, not only in tournament poker but cash game poker as well. You may have been card dead, or you may have just been sort of not playing too many hands for a certain period, and you need to realise that and start to abuse the fact that, I mean, even weaker players these days will pick up on the fact that you haven't played a hand in ages. The way I like to mask it when I play live cash games, where obviously most of the time it's such like a loose passive game that playing aggressively doesn't win that much money. I'm just talking all the time. And it's kind of like what I call the Phil Lark effect.
Yeah.
You know, it feels as though he's in every pot, but he's actually just folding.
Yeah, he's
and
really
waiting
tight.
Yeah, he's actually super tight. Yeah. Pass, please. Yeah, pass coming up for you. It is playoff. And actually, that's a good point. I'm going to get myself in that game now as well on Unibet. Let's see how many of you we've got signed up. It'd be interesting to see.
And we're down to the last few hands of this stream, but half an hour from now, maybe a little bit longer, there will be a 5-5 pot limit Omaha game. It should be pretty action-packed. The 5-10 Hold'em was pretty crazy, so I imagine at Omaha we're going to see even a little bit more craziness.
They haven't let us down at all this week with the action, people. Oh, and speaking of action, Ricardo, who's been super tight, not been playing many hands, finds himself with the pre-flop nut dog.
Did it fold around to him with aces, though? That's interesting. It's unfortunate to him that this is, I think, the first hand we've seen in a very long time with no action.
Absolutely.
What's up?
It does look like he'll get at least a call from Tom. And this is, he may get more action on the swap because Tom flopped top pair. And Ricardo checking, which is smart. Now, does Ricardo check raise? Does he check call?
25.
Either is okay. He does check raise at 25, and I think Tom will continue along here. He is in position. He can reevaluate on the turn. But what we thought would be a nothing of a hand based on it folding around to the small blind with aces. The pot is slowly building itself up. Already at 62 pounds with a blind on blind battle at 2-2, and the 6 of diamonds shouldn't really change much. I expect Ricardo to lead after he did the check raise.
Yeah.
He could opt to check to say, I was trying to check raise you off the hand, but he only has 85 behind. Tom
loves the turn.
Tom will probably have to call here, but it's one of those spots where you're just not happy with yourself.
Yeah, it is a turnover bet.
It's basically a little more than it's probably about a pot-sized bet because considering the rake, it's probably not 85. It is 80 actually, so not that much less.
Would a player that hasn't played many hands at all check raise bluff and then jam the turn?
Maybe with the session ending in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that it does create that added dynamic, which is something that you have to take into account as well. People don't like getting bluffed on stream for sure, and Tom may be considering the fact that Ricardo could have a hand like ace queen, ace 10 or clubs, or queen 10, 8 on the river. No good. Ricardo gets the full double, and he looks like he's rubbing down the sweat on his on his palms as he's pulled in that pot. So very well done there, Ricardo. Nicely done. Manages to cash in on the pocket aces. And from what I've heard, I don't think aces had ever won before. But when you're out in the smoking area, listening to everyone talk about their hands and etc.
To be fair, I don't remember ever seeing anybody have aces this stream either, unless they folded a pre-flop and it was under the mystery cards.
Yeah. Unless they just couldn't hack the pressure and just got rid of it, for sure. So let's have a look and see the chip stacks if they are coming up. Kevin looks like he is engrossed in whatever he's looking at.
Maybe he's entering the Unibet free roll.
Maybe he's entering the Unibet free roll. I'd hope so. What do you reckon he's up to?
I don't know if I could say what I think is up to on the screen. Sorry, Kevin.
Here he is.
Hey!
Can I get a bit of that action?
Speaking of Unibet,
Get on it.
it looks like we have Estonian Jesus, Unibet
Estonian Jesus
ambassador
in
with
the
us.
building. What have you been up to today, bro?
Stuffing myself with food.
Nice. And drinks?
A lot of water, yeah.
A lot of water.
Yeah,
Okay,
on the
okay.
grind, on the grind. Oh,
Nice,
shit.
nice. So Emilia's just been... Whoa! Bit of a pre-flop caller. Ricardo has just doubled up the previous hand and he's found kings the next hand.
Are we watching World Series right now, or what's going on?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then there's going to be kings in the blinds as well, man.
This could be showers for Ricardo, though. He just doubled up as well. He played literally one or two hands, and one of them was just aces. And we didn't see aces pretty much all stream, and now we're seeing it 2 out of 3 hands, or maybe 2 hands in a row. I don't.
Spade and heart as well.
Yeah. Kevin may get out of the way, especially if he's busy on the phone. Let's see what he does.
That's a big raise.
Ryan, were you not able to come today then? I'm just having a look through the chat now.
74.
We will go to that later, as obviously we have a huge hand developing here. Emilio with a small 4-bet out of position. I don't really like the sizing because I don't think you're ever going to bluff for the sizing much.
Unless your opponent has kings, yeah. The
Yeah,
only
it's
thing,
just,
that's
just kind of like I've got aces, let's click it back and kind of retake the betting lead. And Ricardo, he's not really thinking at all at the moment. He's just kind of counting the money in his head that he thinks he's going to win.
He might be thinking, though. We haven't seen him.
I mean,
maybe
maybe.
this double up is what he was looking for before, and we'll be happy knowing that the stream is ending in a few minutes and can walk away with profit. It depends on whether he came as one of the guys that got a little bit of free money to play today.
Okay.
You know, we don't know
so
that much about Ricardo.
Yeah, then that does create a dynamic where you just want to keep hold of some of your winnings maybe. Last couple of hands, pocket kings. Is he really thinking here, or is he about to call, or is he about to shove? What is he going to do?
Oh, Kevin was playing with them as well, huh?
Kevin was in the mix, yeah.
He did really well yesterday in the 6-card PLO.
Oh yeah? Were you playing in that game?
Yeah.
How much did he win?
Oh, I think he
Thousands.
won heaps. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. How did you get on?
Won some.
Nice.
I played like a rock yesterday. It was really painful.
Yeah.
So fucking painful.
Oh,
So we did just
What, your
have
card
to
dead
call.
in? Ooh.
And he can get away
wow.
now. He could get
And he's
away.
managed to find himself a flop that he can actually not get stacked on. It's the dream stuff for Ricardo. I wouldn't mind a check here from Emilia, to be honest. She's really not worried about that much at all. He does have just less than a pot size bet behind, so plenty of opportunities to be able to get this in later. You don't need to
75.
need to bet now 100% of the time. Bet 75, which is a bit awkward because it only leaves a 60 behind, but Ricardo's... I think he was loving the fact that he could get away from
Yeah,
the kings
yeah, he
there. He
seemed
almost wanted to
happy.
fold pre-flop, didn't he? He's
Really
like, any
seemed
excuse,
upset,
just
he
get
seemed
me out of
happy.
there, cash me up, I'm going home. Where you guys play online poker, says Matty KK. Well, as you can see from this lovely little badge here, Unibet Poker, one of our main sponsors this week, giving out you that value in terms of the €500 free roll
Play online over
on
here.
Cash Game
Which
Festival.
is live. We play live.
We play a bit of live and we play a bit of online. And Estonian Jesus, tell us about your story. And obviously, we had you on the other day. You play a lot on Unibet.
I do, yeah. I really love the games there. It's definitely the softest games out there. And,
Yeah, I think so.
The thing is, the main reason why it's the case is because a lot of professional online poker players are so used to using cards.
HUDs, yeah.
And Unibet does not support that.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of friends who play poker, and I've told them like, really the games are really good. You should join in. But they're like, nah, because I love playing with a HUD, and I'm not going to join in. And that's it.
And it's so like anti-reg but rec friendly, you know, because you can have 5 different names, you can have your little avatar, you know, and there's no chat, there's no color coding. It just makes it more sort of friendly for new players, you know.
for sure.
It's kind of like the old school full tilt in that way, where I found that there were a lot of recreational players on there because it was quite a fun experience. It's almost like playing a video
Cartoons,
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can you have a poodle avatar?
Poodle?
Like they had a little poodle was my favorite.
Oh, you had a poodle?
Yeah.
No, I've got a couple.
Or can we have an avatar view?
Check.
You have an avatar view.
I do have an
Do you?
avatar.
Nice. How do you get that? Do you have to be a sponsored player?
I think if you can
can
get
buy one, or-
enough points, then you can get one as well. But
sick.
I'm
of
never
yourself
gonna get
or
that
of
many.
you? Like
You
if
can get whichever you like. So in theory, you could get me, I guess.
I may have to start grinding on Unibet so I can get a Jesus
Yeah.
avatar.
And a bit of a disastrous run out for both players as it comes heart. It's going to be checked down, and Sam
will
sees
be
the good
happy.
news. He might have been sweating that one a little bit. It just went from bad to worse. But his King Queen does hold up against the Queen 10 of Kevin. Pulls himself in another medium-sized pot. Been a bit unlucky with the run of cards that he's had, but good to see that there's smiles around the table. And so you're mainly a tournament player, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, and do you feel as though the schedule, because obviously it's quite a low-stakes schedule on Unibet, is that enough to supplement, or do you play elsewhere?
Yeah. As a tournament player, you must play everywhere you can, really, right? So I play
And
wherever
you use
I
the
can.
HUD at the other side. So
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
So where it's available, you use it, but you're happy enough not to use it if nobody can use it.
Yeah, and the other thing, if you play without the HUD, it's good practice for live games as well, because we don't have a HUD here, and so keeps you warm up, you know.
And a really good point in the chat, actually, the rake is really good on Unibet too, very competitive.
Is it?
I played the Banzai games and it's like 1%, I think. Yeah,
really?
the 10 big blind cash games. Super good. So, yeah, Matty KK. So, bit of Unibet, bit of Sky Poker, a little bit of the Devil, the PS. We won't give you the full name.
We could see some fireworks here, though. We don't know what Kevin has, but
Oh,
we
yeah.
have a
Kevin has
3-bet
been
from
quite
early
passive
position.
pre-flop, so this might be the stream's coming to an end, let's have a go, or it might be a case of
Yeah, it was the last
He
hand,
had a
so I think he
genuine
was
hand.
just willing to snap it in. Everybody's getting up
yeah.
now.
Is he going to show what he had? Go on, Kev. And
You have
Joe?
to show. Let's
I
have-
imagine
Come
Kevin
on.
didn't have anything there. He probably heard it was
Yeah.
last hand. We've seen Kevin do that before.
Yeah. Just trying
What's
to
it odds?
pick up a little bit of
His
the
range
dead money
was
as such.
6-2 off and up. He may fold his,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's really nothing that's worse than... Is there anything worse than 6-2 off? Maybe 7-2 off is worse?
7-2 off? Yeah. Because 6-2 off can make more straights and
Yeah.
stuff, you know? So,
8-2 off and 7-2 off might be worse.
So Joe gets away. He's the big winner in the game today. That's a £1,600 stack he's going to be cashing in. And
Happy
I
days.
believe he bought in for 500. So £1,100. That is 550 big blinds. Not quite up to Frankie's level,
No.
which was 750. Our co-founder of the Cash Game Festival, you know Frankie? Runs like God, that guy. He just won the 50-1 spin outside as well. I know the
Really?
guy. Yeah, he's
Dude, how much did he have
He
on
had a
that?
tenner on it.
No.
Yeah. So he
He's
had-
running so pure this festival. I
so
love it.
Another 500 in his back pocket. He
And
won
he won at
750
Sviten last
big
night
blinds.
as well.
Won at Sviten last night, wins at everything, and he's always got a smile on his face, winning or losing, which is what the Cash Game Festival is all about, guys. Really enjoyed having that stream. Thanks very much, Sterling Jesus, for popping in. Cheers, bro. And Wacky Jackson, as ever. Sanford here too. So just going to be toning down, for 10, 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to be hopping back in the action again. The players haven't started. We're on a 20-minute delay. So I'd guess if you guys leave this on in the background, we should probably recommence the action in about 30, 40 minutes.
Yes, that's about right.
Any
Thanks,
closing
everybody.
thoughts?
See you tomorrow for me. And
Yeah,
see you in half an hour for George.
Absolutely. Me and Henry will be on later, 755 PLO. I'll make sure to get some guest appearances as well. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate you joining. Peace out.
how to describe the Cash Game Festival is very simple. It's a lot of fun. You have tons of great action if you like poker. You have great people at the table. And you have tons of great side events, even if you just want to enjoy the trip, enjoy the city. So it's always a blast coming here back.
It's a very social occasion. The team are very friendly. You get to know the same faces at each of the festivals. The guys organise social trips, the parties, and it's all great fun. So it ticks all the boxes.
Welcome to day 4 of the Cash Game Festival, brought to you live from the Aspers Casino. I'm currently starting the show home, but as you can see, I've got my main man, Estonian Jesus.
Almost got here on time.
Almost got. We'll let you off. 5 seconds is 5 seconds. You know, we have got a jam-packed lineup for you guys today. Like 5-5 PLO deep stack. A lot of known names at the table. What's going on? What's going on over here?
It is tough times here, you know. There's so much action. I'm playing 6-card PLO here.
You're playing 6-card PLO here.
We're trying to make a video recap of the whole week here. A lot of cash games. We're doing the commentary and we're doing interviews and all at the same time.
We're spinning the wheel for prizes and that. We're having dinners. We're getting drunk. You know, it's good times.
It's crazy.
It is. Well, I'll tell you what. If you could stay with me for a couple more minutes until my main man George Sampson joins me. And then you can jump out, do your interview, because obviously you're a well sought after man. Everyone wants a piece of Estonian Jesus, man.
Yeah,
everyone does.
This is all I have from left of my pinky.
Everyone wants a bit. Everyone wants a bit. Rocking the Unibet poker patch, which you are going to be seeing on quite a few players at the table, because today Unibet did run that awesome hybrid tournament. Who won that? Do you know?
I'm not sure actually. I don't know. I don't think it's you were dreaming, probably.
I won it. I got the €250 Unibet Open package.
No way.
Courtesy of Unibet. Also cashed out like £450, but we did give away the package. I didn't want to take the package. I wanted to give it to one of the Unibet guys. So
good man.
And a lady who came second. She came close. I cashed out for $450. She cashed out for $170, and she came second. So she was a close second place. But hey. What have you been up to today? You've been filming some footage from what I've seen.
Yeah, I just started, to be honest, because today we had a dinner.
Yep.
And that was really nice, because to be honest, I was really low energy today when I started, because I've grinded here for 3 nights now. I really want to put my volume in, so I promised, maybe it's not that much for most people, but I promised to play 8 hours every single day.
Fair enough.
So that's 8 hours of pure playing time, which is like, let's say I have an hour break or a 30-minute break, that doesn't count towards it, so I'm still here like 10 hours.
That's fair enough. So you've just been grinding, you've been socialising, obviously talking with everyone here at the festival, and also getting some footage for your your own page, which is the 1 year 1 mil.
Yeah, so check it out if you've never heard of it. Me and my mates, housemates Espen and Rauno, we're trying to make 1 million euros this year. We're really far from it. Like, we're halfway through. I think we're. Last week was epic. Rauno shipped the Super Tuesday.
Espen's already shipped the Supersonic this year for 36k.
I've done nothing.
You're just the lurker. You're just there for morale. You're like, come on, guys, let's get them results in.
And yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I think we've won like 200k on poker this year. Burned half of it on crypto.
As have we all.
Yeah, and but yeah, it's been crazy. I think like really fun lately. Really fun with poker lately. So
Awesome stuff. Awesome
so yeah,
stuff.
check it out on YouTube when you're 1 mil. You can also find it on Twitter. The same thing.
YouTube / 1 year 1 mil,
Yeah.
or youtube.com / this is an Estonian keyboard, so please forgive me because I don't know how this shit works.
I think it's
man?
Shift and 7. I think.
No,
No, it's not Estonian. I don't know.
I don't know. Guys, youtube.com / 1 year 1 mil, and you can catch up to all the antics that those three do get up to. Obviously sponsored by Unibet as well, which is
Oh, it's pretty good, yeah. I started, as you can see, Unibet bounty. Talking about Unibet, we have a bounty on this gentleman there on the right as well, Benjamin. Really awesome dude. I had a chance to meet him first time in Estonia during the last Cash Game Festival.
yes.
And it was a wild one because he definitely knows how to OOL, out of line partying. He did that heaps.
I remember in the club when everyone was flipping for like the 300 euro bottles of vodka and that. I've got an idea, man. Let's get a selfie in the booth.
Oh, let's
the
do it.
camera.
Let's
Do
do
it.
it. Get on the
You're-
vlog.
You're a good photographer, obviously. A lot of experience.
I'm only good at filming.
Should we
though.
let's get Twitch chatting as well. One second. Let's try and get let's get all
do
of
this
this.
way
Let's get everything in.
Benjamin folded. What is this game? It's already filming for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, it's been listening to our chat, has it?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Everyone that's in the chat, you are now part of the Unibet Poker 1 year 1 mil scene. That's awesome stuff. Now, guys, for those of you who don't already know, Unibet do have a free roll currently running. You have about 20 minutes left to hit that late registration button. The password is playoff. They're giving away 500 euros free money, and I can see a king in the window just jumping back into the action. Ryan Metalface flopping top set. Double gut shot for Mr. Wilson to go with his middle pair and his backdoor hearts. I'll let you continue with the analysis on this one.
So it seems Mr. Wilson decided to limp call, which I think is really, really standard, especially in live games where you have really loose players. So you don't want to really raise too much. You get like free bet. You get called anyway, so you end up floating the ball for raising.
And do you think Mr. Wilson will now get in a bit of trouble, seeing as he has turned up and picked up what he might think is additional equity with the hearts?
Mr. Wilson is a Latvian man. I've played with him now with the 6-card PLO many nights in a row, and I don't think he gets too much in trouble with non-knotted hands. I think he'll find a laydown here if needed.
Especially when our main man, Ryan Davey, ex-commentator Mr. Metalface, did check back the turn as well. You often find in these kind of games the bet line is normally pretty nutted. That's what I've experienced myself in Hold'em. I'm not as well experienced in live Omaha, but I often find in these lower stake games, even though we're super deep, the bet line is very rarely a bluff.
That's why it's a really credible line to take as a bluff as well.
For sure. There you go, guys. There, free information there on stream. And,
as we can see, Mr. Wilson makes the laydown. But yeah, I've played with him now at least 2 nights in a row, so we definitely played at the same table at least like 10 hours maybe, because we weren't at the same table all the time.
Yeah.
But I've seen him make really big laydowns for sure, and not too many tin value bets, I would say. So.
And look at that. Benjamin sat down with 500 bigs, Anthony with close to 400, Chris with 300, Dave with 200, and then you've got Kevin, Ryan and Mr. Wilson hovering around the 100 big blind starting stacks. A lot of money on the table for a 5-5 game.
In fucking the, and that's the game. That's the case with cash games though, and live scenery. It's never like 100 big win game. It's never 100 bigs. So it's gonna be deep. It's gonna be straddles, and it always plays bigger than it is. So it's hard to see this game being a 5-5 game, to be honest.
For sure. I think maybe once the players get settled in, we're going to see a lot of straddling, like you said, maybe like 10-20, especially if a couple of the shorter stacks do double up and it gets even more deeper. I can easily see this game getting out of line, as our friend in C8, Ben, says. And guys, look who is about to walk in the building. Day 4 for the Cash Game Festival is Mr. George Sanford, and I've somehow managed to align these chairs so we all fit in perfectly.
Oh, well
so
done.
I practiced it.
Yeah, he's been in the lab, the chair lab.
The chair lab.
Good stuff. So a couple of people. Oh, the free roll.
Oh, George getting that value, jumping
Get
in.
on,
Let's go.
George's going to be firing
Oh,
up.
mate, I've been blinded down. I've got too big.
Oh, you got this.
I've got this. Hang on. Come on. Am I back? Yes.
Oh,
we
wow.
go.
You got to
All
get
right,
this
well.
in. Fist bump.
Let's go.
We need to live stream this one. Though.
Let's do it. Yes,
Wow,
we're in.
domination.
Hey, no!
That was well played, though. You got it in good.
Yeah, I got it in good. I was crushing.
Domination
So
nation.
I want to start railing maybe later.
Catch you up later for the final table. And wow, look at this flop.
Chris Young with a bottom set. I've had a chance to play with Chris Young as well. And to be honest, the first hand we played together was somewhat a wild one.
Right.
Yeah, I've touched this tiny bit, but not too deeply. So I used to work for Cash Game Festival when it was first time here in London.
Yeah.
And so Chris Young is a long-time Cash Game player here.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew his background already. So we ended up playing a tournament in London together a year and a half ago. There was, I think, 3 tables left. There was 400 runners, 3 tables left, and we're on the same table. I don't know. I don't think he knows me, but I knew he's a Cash Game player, so I expected him to be more aggressive type.
Yeah.
So he raised on the cutoff. This is a hold'em hand on a PLO stream, so holy shit.
Yeah.
And a tournament hand. So he raised cutoff. I defend big blind. I didn't have much. I think I had we're playing deep, but I mean hand-wise, I think I had 7-5 or something. Not like a standard defend, but nothing too good. So anyway, I think I had second pair or third pair.
Okay.
2 diamonds. Run out is a blank. He fires 3 bullets. I'm on with 4th or 3rd pair on the river.
Yeah.
He makes a big bet on the river, and I'm all I can think is he's a fucking Cash Game player.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gonna
just
apply
putting me in
so
the
much
bin.
fucking pressure. He has so much experience. And so I called the river. He was tap the table, good call. And
And did he show a better? Was he bluffing with a better hand, or did he have you?
Yeah, no, I
you
had
had
him,
him.
but he had a
Nice.
busted flush draw.
Okay, nice. And you were putting two and two together. He plays a lot of cash. He's a very competent player. Plays all the games as well. I think I've seen him in everything this week.
Yeah, for sure. He was playing 6 cards. He's playing 4 cards. He's playing 2 cards.
Played 5-10 to about 8 o'clock this morning. So
He definitely loves the game.
yeah, he does. And as you guys could probably hear, there's a very aggressive approach to getting Jesus out of the building. Jesus, leave the building. Thanks very much for joining us, and obviously please do pop back in later
Yes,
on.
for
And
sure.
you're being called to the rail to do another interview.
Catch you guys.
Thanks very much, man, and
Thanks
we'll
very much,
catch
man.
you in maybe half an hour or so.
Might happen.
Good luck. Top 2 for Kevin, just jumping back into the action there. And Chris has got himself middle pair along with a gut shot and the nut flush draw. And on the turn, Kevin hitting 3 pair. And Chris does hit 2 pair along to go along with his nut flush draw. Expecting to both maybe slow down on the turn here.
He may think that his hand is good, he may not. He does have the extra equity of obviously the flush draw as well. As Ben's just alluded to, Estonian Jesus there in the booth, very aggressive player, so obviously likes to apply the pressure with a wide variety of hands, and Kevin's not going anywhere. He's got himself top 3 pair. Pretty
7
formidable
would be
hand.
interesting.
7 would be interesting. Also a spade, an 8, a 9, and 9 comes. And now Kevin finds himself with a straight, a fairly weak one at that though. So he's going to lead.
Wow, he does.
He just commits himself. The backdoor flush gets there. He's not worried about that, and Chris cannot call there with 10s and 7s. Sorry, 10s and 9s. Never going to be good facing a bet like that. So Kevin knows where he's at there. Quite an impressive value lead.
Obviously, Kevin, a very good friend of ours, he doesn't mind us, you know, both complimenting his game and criticising him. What do you think of that pot lead there on the river? Because obviously Chris could be firing with hands such as King Jack.
Yeah.
He could have some.
Could have also picked up backdoor hearts
exactly.
as well, which is a hand that you would definitely.
Are you ever getting a worse hand to call there? Really?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, to be honest. It was more of a, I've just made my hand, I'm going to lead instead of calling now, because I think some people prefer to just commit themselves
rather than being a tough spot. For sure. For sure. Makes sense.
Sandshrew, my dude. And Sandshrew number 1 in the building. Thanks very much for joining the chat. 87 of you at present. We were up to the dizzy heights of near 200 earlier. So it'd be great for you guys to share and make sure that you get that on your social media channels. Twitch.tv/CashGameFestival. Let everyone know what we're about. If you're enjoying it, let us know. Brandon says, by the way, welcome Brandon to the stream. Dude, your commentators, you should be happy to criticise other people's game. It's a fair point, but you know, some people watch this back, and we've had a couple of awkward ones where we've been slating people for poor play. And I remember, do you remember Mr. Gloves from Bratislava? We had a guy called Mr. Gloves who was just like, he was like a heads-up player from LA or something, and he was like the loosest player I think I've ever played with. And we were sat actually playing 2-5 with him that time, wasn't he? Yeah. And I think he doubled me up about 3 times with like pocket fours, just rips it in over my 3-bet. I'd played like one hand in the last 2 hours, and he decided that, you know, that's going to be good enough for the 200 big blind 4-bet shove. And he actually said to us, hey guys, do you mind if I catch the stream somewhere? Is it online? And I was like, yeah, Twitch, you could do. And we'd just been like for 2 hours, been like, Christ, this Gloves guy's an absolute lunatic.
He came back to us, or he came back to you personally, and said, I really enjoyed the stream.
Yeah, really good job. Yeah,
really good job on the commentary. And I was just like, whew. Because he was the type of guy that, like, image-wise, he puts you in the boot of a car and you're never seen again. Yeah. Like the leather jacket.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He said he was a lawyer, but there's definitely some other stuff going on. So Ryan turns himself top set. 4 straight board, probably going to see a check from him. And David now with the straight, Queen 8. So he's going to for sure bet. And I'd be looking on quite a wet texture with no hearts in his hand to go more in line with a pot size bet, to be honest. I think that this just gives a lot of hands too good a price. He was losing to King Queen anyway, so the river doesn't really change anything now. It looks like he's going to have to find another value.
Oh wow, David checks behind.
In position on the river, checks behind. He would have definitely heard from a better hand. I think that's losing as well, to be honest. Yeah,
for sure. I agree. I know why you're kind of dumbfounded there.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
You're obviously fist bump getting it in, getting called by like the lower end of the straight, and like you said, had he had King Queen, you're going to hear about it on the turn. So sometimes you are left speechless. You know, you're trying to analyse a hand, and you're like, yeah, and he's probably going to do this, and then he checks, and you're like, okay.
I think we had Eddie and Ollie, 2 mates of ours in Bratislava, and they were sort of sat next to us on the stream. And Eddie came over to me one time, and he said, basically, your commentary is, oh, this is an interesting turn card. Oh, it goes check. Yeah. And that does tend to happen in these kind of low-limit cash games. That's why there's a lot of money to be made in live poker. Generally, you see people side on the, the sort of cautious side of things. Quite passive. I was playing a bit of 1-1. I think you were playing some 1-1 earlier. You managed to spin up a stack. Talk us through how you got on in that Cash Game Festival hybrid kind of cash tournament.
Yes, so great tournament organised by Cassia, obviously the wife of the card room manager John Scanlon here at Aspers Casino. She works for Unibet. They organised the hybrid tournament where all of the entrants had £100 to start off with. There are 3 levels, starting off at 1-1, for 40 minutes, then went to 1-2. Then the final level was 2-4, and it was basically whatever you have left at the end of the game, you get to cash out and keep. And on top of that, the winner got a €250 Unibet Open package, which I won. But obviously with a cash game festival, we're all about sharing is caring. We decided to give it away to the lady who came in second place, as we felt like she deserved it. So she got that package, I got the cash money.
Okay.
And
what
it
was
was
the package?
€250 Unibet Open package.
Not bad, not bad. And that's any UK Unibet Open, is it?
European.
European.
Yeah,
Wow,
obviously it doesn't get you there, but if you are going to be like in the area, you could sort of register like one of the Deep Stack satellites or one of the side events. But Cassia did say to me, for giving it away, she's going to be sorting me out with some Unibet merchandise, which was obviously nice
awesome,
of her.
man. So plenty of interesting opportunities with Unibet coming up, and they are sponsoring that €500 free roll for you guys. Let us know how you're getting on. Brandon in the chat giving us some decent advice.
Yeah, really good advice. I just saw that.
Criticise the poker, not the people. That's for sure. And also engage with the chat, something we've been trying to do as much as possible. Just keeping the engagement high. And nice to see you guys giving us some feedback in that regard as well. Always welcome, and thanks very much for joining us on this Saturday evening Cash Game Festival 5-5 PLO stream. Couple of old faces that you may recognise. Metal Face, Ryan Davey in the building, playing. I think he's bought in for 1,000. Is that right? I saw he put up social media.
He did have a plaque.
Yeah.
He has elected to buy in for 500. I think
2 bullets.
With this game, he wants to have 2 bullets. It's the type of game where everyone's deep enough to fire the smaller bullets to start off with. If things don't go to plan, you've got that backup one so that you don't miss out on the potential spin up to 5k kind of stack.
One of my favourite things to do in live PLO is to buy in quite short, especially in aggressive games where you can kind of get in the middle of people that maybe getting a little bit out of line, and you can spin up a stack that way by isolating dead money, and then people re-isolate you, and you're able to kind of triple up with actually only playing heads up, if you know what I mean. So that's quite cool. Swing your opinion like a huge cock, I think that is. You missed my amazing analogy.
Leave us alone, Brandon. Stop trolling in the chat.
Yeah, no, it's good to have obviously someone with so much experience of commentating as well as playing too in the chat. So thanks very much, Brandon.
I believe he's got a young one on the way as well. I don't think we've found out if it's a boy or a girl. Am I so far ahead in time that it's already happened? Brandon, let us know. Saying he's not trolling.
Donna Morton in the chat as well.
Yes.
Dark Angel, thanks very much for popping by. Are you at the, I think you're at, she said she was at an event, is it the GPS Luton? Let us know what you're up to.
I'm not too sure where she is. She said she saw a tower.
Saul Tower, he's the he is the Grosvenor commentator, isn't he? You know, Big Tower.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
He's
I
always
know,
the guy
I know
like,
you're
and he's
talking
got
about.
aces, and he's gonna stack him off now.
Oh wow, Brandon's saying I'm having a son. Maybe tonight. It could literally be any time now. Well, Brandon, amazing news, and obviously healthy delivery on both your wife's part and all round. Just
35 out of 35 says UK Poker Room. Not sure what's short. Oh, the 25-25. Whereabouts is the 25-25, guys? Let us know.
Plus 4.
No problems, mate. All the best.
It's in because didn't we talk about it before we even came to the festival?
Playing, yeah.
And then
Is it no, it's not the one before the Goliath. That's in 2 weeks, is it?
oh man, it's in Manchester. I'm fairly sure it's in Manchester at the moment. I might be wrong, but I'm fairly sure it's in Manchester.
Sure hope so. That kid's going to have a lot of commentating talent.
That's quality. And interesting flop here. Kevin flop himself bottom set. Mr. Wilson with the overpair and the nut shot, as George likes to call it.
Yeah.
And Chris with the top and bottom to go with his pocket nines.
Sandshrew. If I named my son Sandshrew, it'd be Sandshrew Sanford. That would be a scene, wouldn't it? Right, so Chris tends himself the open-ended to go with his top pair. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, he likes to call himself. That's he must be a bit of a character. Adds himself a pair with his queens. Got himself a gut shot. Still, Kevin, he's got the big lead. He's got bottom set. Very tough playing these kind of hands, you know, because he's got no. I mean, there is connectivity, but the problem is, like, he gets boards like this, and when you do have like a set of boards, you get boards like this all the time, and you can't really extract the max value. So I just prefer playing sort of more high value pairs, because the pairs kind of kill your equity in this game for sure. And Mr. Wilson rivers himself the nut straight. So see how he's going to go from here. Should be able to get a small bet out of Kevin, but I don't think that Kevin would be paying anywhere near to the pot size.
For sure. And
When's this next talent stop?
I don't think we have one this year after the one we've already had. I believe we have Sunny Beach, we then have Bratislava, there's talks of Italy,
Yep.
and obviously King's Casino in Roseldorf at the end of the year, and then we're going to throw in either another London stop or a Dublin stop.
Yeah.
So loads coming up. It's just all about obviously confirming the dates, letting everyone know, and with plenty of notice. So those are the lineups that we do have, but yet to be confirmed.
Nice discipline fold from Kev there. He manages to get away from the bottom set on the river. The board did get a lot dicey. There's a huge amount of straights out there, better sets, that kind of thing. Most of the time I think you'd be expecting for your opponent to only bet a straight or better into two players in that kind of spot. So yeah, very shrewd fold there. No reason why the player, Mr. Wilson, couldn't have had a straight. So Kevin gets away, and a nice discipline lay down there. And this is Ben apart, is that right?
That's his Twitch name.
That's his Twitch name.
Yep. And his real name is Benjamin Vorland from Finland.
Okay.
Sorry, from Finland, from Norway even. He'll be very offended if he watches this back. Good friend of ours as well, John Keite. They are very close together, play a lot. They help each other with constructing ranges, etc., just running through hands together. And yeah, he is very well known in the high stakes online PLO scene. So
Awesome.
He has bought in for the max. He's here to maybe prove a little point, I don't know.
Potentially. I think he said that he was mainly an online player, so it's just nice to get out of the basement every now and then, isn't it? Really?
It is indeed.
Actually put some clothes and interact with society, as poker players often do miss out on. And let's go back to the action here. It looks like we've got a raise from Benjamin. He's going to isolate the limp of Mr. Wilson, who's going to limp call. Not too bad from either player. I quite like Benjamin's ISO here. There's a lot of connectivity there, a lot of things happening for him. Probably going to see him c-bet and take this one down would be my guess. Bottom himself, bottom pair, backdoor flush draw opportunities. He does check back. Okay, that's interesting.
Wow, what
Turns
a
himself
card.
the trips and the backdoor flush draw. Pretty much the gin card. Mr. Wilson now again with the flush draw as well as his two pair sixes and eights. Lets it go. And Benjamin's going to take down that pot. And Brandon says that he's going to pop in, see us in Tallinn, show us how it's done, maybe have a couple of drinks and a bit of a chinwag. That sounds fun, man.
Sounds like fun. And am I right in saying we saw Mr. Wilson in Bratislava? Or am I getting confused with this London stop at the beginning of the year? I feel like he was there, man.
Mr. Wilson.
I honestly do. I feel like he was playing these types of games as well, the €5, €5
potentially,
game.
actually, yeah.
Maybe he won himself a package or something, I'm not sure, but I'm fairly sure.
Let's see if we can get some information on him.
Seen
And
him
best
before.
of luck, Brandon. Brandon, I think, checking on the wifey, seeing how she's getting on with the pregnancy. Good stuff there. Right, let's have a look at the... see if we can get a little bit of info. Who have we got? Anyone that you particularly want to know? Anyone particularly that you want some info on, guys? Let us
Brandon,
know.
you cheeky fucker. I was not yawning, I was about to say something. My Cocon was in the middle of a sentence, so I kind of went to open my mouth and closed it. Thank you very much. Shut down that little needle there. But no, definitely, in all honesty, having you join us in the booth in Tallinn would be an absolute pleasure for us, because we've kind of taken over this role, made it our own, but it's always great to just get people from the past to come and say, boys, try this out, maybe see if this works for you, maybe see if that works for you. So thanks for joining us as always.
Really hope Mr. Wilson talks about himself in the third person. Yeah, the sort of person that would call himself Mr. Wilson on the stream potentially is that kind of guy. Obviously a bit of a character, so interesting to see the pots that he jumps into later on.
Do you think he introduced himself as Mr. Wilson?
Yeah,
You're like, hey,
yeah.
my name's
Wilson,
George Sanford.
Mr.
So
Wilson.
Wilson, Mr. Wilson.
Got to head off. No problem, Brandon. Thanks very much for stopping by. 85 of you in the chat. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. We're always interested to find out whereabouts you guys are, what your involvement is with the Cash Game Festival, how you found us.
Really, that's brilliant. That's got to be one of the comments of the streams that I've seen so far. Nick Mac, well done.
So just trying to catch up with the pre-flop action here, but Ryan has single suited aces with the nut flush draw on this board and an overpair, and I think he's probably going to be attempting a check raise. Yeah, has he potted it? Chris with a really aggressive c-bet there. That's quite speculative. May feel as though. I'm guessing that Ryan would have come in for a 3-bet pre-flop. I don't have that information in front of me, but yeah, and Chris assumes that
Ace of clubs show.
Potentially might have not c-bet a board that wet with too much of a strong hand, but gets it check potted in his eye, and Ryan's going to take that one down. That's one for the stream. 5-2-5 for Ryan, and looking quite calm and composed there as he pulls in that last pot.
Awesome stuff, and we always, try and stay non-biased or unbiased even, but we can't help just, a little bit of like a fist bump to the side of the camera when one of our guys obviously does pull in a pot, and he doesn't shy away from these bigger stakes either. He was getting involved in Tallinn, he was getting involved in London beginning of the year. He said 5-5, yeah, I'll flick it in.
Yep,
I want to get involved. I don't care if these guys are sitting down with 2K, 2.5K.
Absolutely.
I'm ready to rock up the short stack, and I think this theory that you've come up with, and I've heard great players such as like Jay Nandez mentioned it before, buying in for a short stack in such an aggressive game, I think it really is profitable. And you were really unfortunate the other night where you had spun up 3x starting stack, get it in with chunks of equity, run it twice, and somehow managed to brick both fucking boards.
One of those spots where I get it in with ace high against aces, and I've actually got I'm at a 2-1 favourite, which just doesn't happen in Hold'em. And I was playing against a Hold'em player who actually thought it was a flip, and I was kind of like laughing on the inside. But it is what it is.
You just do the old knock knock on the table, nice hand, buddy,
nice hand,
and
Jack Deuce, Brick City. Brick City, bitch.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to get us a Red Bull. Do you want a Red Bull?
Yeah, I'll take a sugar-free one if they do it.
Sugar-free one.
Yeah. And I'll jump into the action. So it looks like Dave's flopped himself what I like to call the gin dog. Got himself the nut flush draw 2-pair, and got himself a lot of options with that kind of flop. That's the great thing about PLO. It's not just one. You've got a lot of stuff going, a lot of things working together as well. If his 2-pair wasn't enough, he could fall back on the flush draw. If that wasn't enough, well, then there's no point in playing, is there? Because great action in the PLO. Really enjoy actually the 6-card format. Have you guys played 5-6 card? I think that one of the better strategies in that game is just to get post flop with people. People are pretty spewy pre, but as soon as the board comes, people do tend to play quite fit or fold in these kind of sort of small stake live games. And let's just see what we've got coming up for the next hand. 5-5-10. I've seen a lot of straddling going on. As you can see from the stacks, the black and whites 25, the red and blues 5. And those little pink chips that you can see at the bottom of Mr. Wilson's stack sat in seat 5 in the middle there. They're good for £100 a pop, and lots of money in play. Sightgasm, thanks so much for joining, and Donna, thanks very much for popping by as well. She's off to cause some mischief. I'm not sure what that means, but I assume that would involve copious drinking. So Ryan again found himself with the aces. He's going to bump it up to 25. I like to see just a pot size open, to be honest. I don't think there's any need to go smaller. We've got a fairly short stack. We want to reduce the SPR post flop, which makes it easier to play a hand like aces. Mr. Wilson comes along in the small blind with king, queen, queen, 4. Kind of a pure set mine, really. There's not awful lot that's going for him with that kind of hand. The 4 is a bit of what we call a dangler, which means that it's not really sort of calibrated with the rest of the hand. It doesn't really come into play at all. It's essentially useless. So Dave's flopped himself flush draw. He's got himself a couple of options with that gut shot as well. So I'm fairly sure that Ryan's going to c-bet here. Flopped himself the top set, and Dave's going to come along. Mr. Wilson now should just be letting go of his pocket queens. Not sure what he's thinking here. Don't really see any other option than folding here. Unless he's considering raising, which would be problematic because he doesn't have aces really in his range apart from like super weak aces that he may have flattered, but in a straddled pot for sure he would have been coming in with a 3-bet on that. So just the flat is rather spewy, I would say, in this spot. Dave, I think, has got a fairly standard continue. He's got a decent amount of equity against a lot of holdings that if he's up against 2 players. So medal face Ryan Davey with the check mark now. Turns himself the nut boat. And let's see how he goes from here. You often see players check this spot, and he has, just trying to let a card like a club or a 7, a 10, an 8 roll off, just to sort of complete someone else's hand, make it more likely that you get a bit of action and value on the river. People definitely freeze up a lot in PLO when the board pairs and they've got a hand like Dave has here where you've got kind of a combo draw. So the check on the turn goes for a bit of value on the river, and Mr. Wilson calls the flop because he thinks his queens are ahead, but then folds the river when nothing changes really, apart from a 9, which I don't think Ryan's just going to be betting a 9 on its own on the flop. I mean, there are a lot of 9s he could have, but he'd also bet the turn with all of his 9s as well. So not too sure what the thinking was there from Mr. Wilson, but be interesting to see how he plays later on. I would say, as an assessment from that particular hand, it seems that he's going to be a fairly loose passive player, given a lot of action and chucking in a lot of chips, so that'll be fun.
Thank you.
There's medication to fix that dangler problem, says NMP fan. Thanks very much for joining the stream, mate. A very familiar name I've seen in the past. Good to see you. Life Loving says yes, the king of clubs. Not sure if trolling, obviously, because in PLO you have to play 2 cards from your hand, so having a backdoor club flush draw with just the 1 card is redundant. Yeah, you have the blocker, so maybe he'd want to kind of... maybe he was just sort of floating out of position to kind of... yeah. To try and rep clubs later on, but it seems a bit ambitious with another player behind as well. I'm just happy with the fold. I think the the pre-flop call is probably just about okay, but due to metal face raising to just 25 over the 10 straddle, seems fine. You are in the small blind. It is a 5-5 game, so you already have 5 invested. Seems like an okay set mining spot, but apart from that, a bit loose on the flop. And Captain Buzzer says, playing at a local poker club with Rexoni, where the rake on 1-1 is 5% on the buy-in and then nothing from pots. Or playing at the casino with a vastly weaker player pool, but with 10% rake and $10 cap. That's actually quite an interesting one. So one of our people in the chat, Captain Buzzer, says that he's got a setup at a local poker club where there's no rake on the pots. You just pay 5% of your buy-in. Which would lead to some problems, right? Because you could be like, oh, I'm just going to buy in for 10 bigs today and then put extra on the table. Or is it every time that you top up, you have to pay 5% of that? How does it work? Let us know.
That's really interesting. Say you're buying for £525 rake for the night. I think that's really fair. I've just got a bit of exciting news to just reveal quickly. We're just speaking outside because of how deep this game is, and we know everyone's going to want to stick around to play. We're going to be running half an hour longer than we usually would.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
sounds fun.
Hopefully it's deeper stacked by like a couple of hours in. You know, chips are going to be flying around. So guys, we're going to be sticking around for half an hour longer than we usually would be.
Yeah, and Life Loving saying with the float there with the king of clubs. Yeah, fair enough, but he's only going to see a club on the turn like 20% of the time. He's got no other equity really in the hand apart from hitting a queen. It's just very, very ambitious, I think.
Wow, what a flop.
Wow, this could be going in. This could be going in, guys. Anthony's got himself an open ender. He's got himself 2-pair, and Benjamin's got himself top set with backdoor diamond flush draw.
We see a diamond on the
just a
turn
call.
as well. Wow,
Ooh,
it is the queen.
So Jack 10 gets there. Anthony takes over the lead after the turn. Let's see how this develops now. Pretty dangerous looking card for Benjamin. All of the obvious kind of draws that would have called you on the flop do get there as well. Hands like Queen Jack 10, any Jack 10. But obviously with top set he's going to look to bet again.
Wow.
You can't just always assign your opponent to the nuts. Not going to make too much money playing that kind of poker. So Anthony now definitely going to be raising. And it's going to be a really interesting spot actually because Benjamin, I'm guessing, will elect to call here, but it's going to be fairly awkward in terms of the stack to pot ratio behind. Probably. Wow, nice.
Snap
Nice,
fold.
very well played, very well played there by Benjamin.
Still got more than me.
Depending on the sizing, I guess, if he clicks it, you've got a call. If he pots it, it's probably a fold, right?
Yeah,
because
for sure.
you've only got one card to come, out of position. Very well played.
Smiles all around though, which is nice to see. A bit of laughter between Benjamin and Anthony there. No love lost over that pot. It's for these guys playing these stakes. I saw Anthony earlier on with absolute chunks in front of him at one of the outer tables. Benjamin got one outed by our good friend Mr. Kite
really?
in Tallinn, and Ben didn't even flinch. You know, he just like 10s against 8s on a 10-8 deuce board. He's hit the old 8 ball on the river, and Ben didn't even flinch. He just pulled out more money and reloaded. So smiles all around. Great to see. Great to see. How you been today, man? Like you
not too
had
bad.
the stream earlier on.
Yeah, me and Jason were in the building for that one. I think that went quite well. We built up a lot of momentum. We're starting to reach towards
Tons of viewers
200
as well,
viewers,
yeah.
which is really nice on a Saturday because obviously a lot of competition on the Twitch streets
For sure.
these days. A lot of people that are doing that for a living. A lot of people that have their own communities. So as we do here, very much enjoying you guys joining us here for the Cash Game Festival 5-5 PLO stream.
4, 5.
Why not just check call and reevaluate river? Yeah, seems fine. It's one of the, well, it's basically the nut worst turn card, isn't it? So yeah, I think that line makes a lot of sense as well.
6.
Currently 89 viewers or 96 on your one.
Yeah.
Be nice to get up to the 150 mark, guys. Like we said, we are going to be running half an hour longer than usual. And in a couple of hours, I can guarantee that it's going to be a lot deeper stack than it currently is. So if you've got any friends, family out there, and wow, just before I babble on, Kevin flopping himself a full house and Anthony flopping trips as well.
Coolerino, Cappuccino, quite common these paired boards to see two people with trips. So how's he going to continue here? Anthony goes for the call, hoping to boat up on the turn at 10, 5 or 4. Only the 5 or 4 would actually win the pot for him.
Check 1.
As Kevin also has a 10 as well. So Kevin with a 84% lead here and
95.
bets pot.
Sit 6.
Anthony's not going to be going anywhere. I like the sizing from Kevin. Once you get called on a flop like that, it's often you're going to be up against a king, so you really want to charge them the max as well.
For sure.
And it's, you know, it's not all that often that he's going to have king 8, so you need to try and get some value, try and get the most out of your hand. Let's see if we can find a safe river for Kevin to find another value bet. It is the 9, so that doesn't change anything. Kevin's still with the check mark with the king 3. And
He checks it behind.
No.
King 3.
I would at least try and find a little bit of value there. Your opponent possibly would have led out with a hand like king 9 because he might have feared that you'd have checked back yourself. It's possible to go either way there, but certainly I'd have gone for a value bet. I don't know about
For
yourself.
sure. I mean, through speaking to some of the more experienced PLO players than myself, a lot of them have said the mistakes that people who are maybe, let's say, more passive is they check back these hands, whereas what they should potentially be doing is maybe betting a third, betting half pot, and then if you do get jammed on, then you can reevaluate. Then you can start thinking through hand ranges, etc. Because you are missing out on value so often there with hands like that. But hey, Kevin is going to be happy to be up and running.
Absolutely.
Nice little profit so far. So early days.
Maybe a little milky kind of third pot bet on the river there.
100%. 100%. I know you would. I know I would as well. It is interesting when you do have them additional 2 cards. You know, maybe you're used to playing Hold'em. You're like, oh well, there's so many more combinations, but you've still got to try and find them pieces of thin value. And then if you play it, like does come over the top, you can reevaluate. So
absolutely love it. I'm just going to go and grab myself a drink. Do you want anything?
I believe we're having drinks brought over to us, but I did say to the card room manager that we would like some drinks over here. But you're more than welcome to obviously try and to speed the process up a little bit. And 99 of you in the building. Thanks very much, guys, for tuning in on this Saturday evening. The weather today has been absolutely amazing here in London. We've been blessed for Wimbledon, for the World Cup, for the past three and a half weeks of just British summer, which is almost as uncommon as me booking a win in these PLO games, which is why I'm sat here and all these guys are sat at this table. But it's been nice. We've unfortunately, or I wouldn't say unfortunately, have been in the casino all day, making sure things run smoothly. But I know a lot of the people have been coming to play for a couple of hours, then going for a drink outside in some of the beer gardens, and then coming back. It's been great vibes all around, especially when the weather's nice in England, because it is such a rare thing. Shout out to NMP Fan, the OG of the Cash Game Festival, Twitchland. Great to have you in the building, buddy. Didn't catch you earlier on, and yeah, a lot of people talking about the 5% of the initial buying rate is pretty good. If you play a long session, you'll end up only paying $10 a rate. I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it's a concept that I need to maybe read into more, because I feel like, you know, if you're playing, say, 7-8 hours, and even if you're playing like a 1-2, which is like capped at £10, there are going to be times where, you know, hopefully you're winning like over £100 in a pot, which is going to cost you £10. You win a couple of them pots a night. That's well over your 10% of your initial buy-in. So I think that's a great idea, and it might be something that catches on. We'll see in the future. And Wilson going for some thin value after it checked through on the turn with his flush. He obviously knows that his hand, or he feels that his hand is good. And Kevin in a weird spot here with a set. But as we've already seen before, he is capable of making good folds. 2 players left behind him, and he is going to let that one go. And Mr. Wilson, it is Wilson, guys, for those of you who are unaware, even though we've got it written down as Wilson, it is Mr. Wilson taking down that tidy little £35 profit. Well, Ben is out of the house 2 days in a row. And it looks like Joe Ford Chimapar. It looks like a similar surname there as well. Because obviously Ben streams on the name Ben Apart. Looks like you guys obviously know each other. Ben, obviously a good friend of mine. I kind of begged him to come down to the Cash Game Festival, hence him being out of the house for 2 days in a row. And also, just on that note, Joe, I managed to get him out a couple of weeks ago. We were going to get a boat in Oxford, and we decided to just hit up Leicester Square and go out for a bit of a messy 1-2 session, so that was good fun. Joe, I assume you're going to be rooting for Ben, and let us know how you know him. Are you a PLO player yourself? Do you play online? Do you share hand histories with each other? Do you study with each other? It's always great to see friends and family members of the people on our screens getting involved in the chat. Oi, oi. He's gone for the cheeky 2 Heinekens for £5.
Heinerino and a cappuccino. Yes, please. Mr. Wilson, I get back, and he's smacked with the deck once again. He's going to bump it up to a pot-sized raise over the limper. Metal face, not sure about that hand selection for an undergun limp 3 diamonds, low pair. Not what you want to really be playing. The sort of low pair kills your equity. You just don't really get many good flops with that kind of hand.
1 check. 3 check, 4 check.
And my drink has still not arrived.
50. Pass.
Wow, Ben is out of the house 2 days in a row, says Joe Ford Chimapart. Nice to see you in the chat. always welcome to get stuck in with a little bit of banter and a bit of needles. Are you a close friend of Ben's? What's your affiliation with the man himself? As you can see, sat there with a mountain of pink chips. He must be about 2.5k deep. He's sat 2k deep there.
Bought him for 2.5, lost that pot to Anthony with the top set against the turned nut straight, and yeah, he will still nurse that 2k stack.
He's a good friend. He met him way back when he was playing 10-25 cent online. Wow. Visiting me in London now. Always nice to hear those kind of stories of people that have just stuck with the grind, built it up, and here they are sat playing, you know, a deep stack 5-5 PLO game on a live stream. Great stuff.
For sure.
And see the point. He's a favourite. Captain Buzz says he's a favourite at the casino 1-1. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Most decent players are. At the poker club, slight favourite. The skill gap. Yeah. It's more of a case. What are your aspirations to do with poker? Do you want to get better at the game, or do you want to make money? If you want to make money, I'd consider going into that 1-1 game. The problem is with playing live 1-1 for like a living or, you know, competitively, is that your game becomes built around these small little adjustments you're making to random players in the live realm, that when you do go and play big tournaments against better players, bigger cash games, you're going to feel a little bit out of your depth because you haven't been challenged. You know, you're the one creating the action, you're the one driving it. You're not put in tough spots because, let's face it, these live 1-1 games are quite passive, you know. A lot of the time,
to being captain of the table.
Yes, exactly. So you know, you might go to like an EPT or whatever, qualify for that, and all of a sudden you're completely out of your depth. So yeah, it just depends on what I think your aspirations are with that, which is a really interesting point I've heard talked about on other streams as well.
For sure. And I remember me and you having a conversation about 2 weeks back about game selection, and obviously I've been playing cash for a long time, and you were saying, but Henry, like firstly a friend of ours, Stoyan, said you can never grow in that game. You followed it up with, that's exactly right, because you're getting so used to making these live exploits against certain types of players that when you do come against more competent players and opponents, you're going to struggle to adapt.
Massively.
So that's why you've been focusing predominantly on the online scene and working your way up in different areas, and something that I definitely need to start looking into for sure.
Absolutely, and an interesting turn of events here as the river brings the king, which makes Chris the jack-9 straight, and Dave has got himself a little bit of a tough decision. There's no obvious completed draws, as the draw did come in the backdoor format, so he might have to pay it off here with the king 10, and I believe that's what he's contemplating right now. Reaches for the chips, puts it in there, and won't be seeing those in this pot, unfortunately. Ship that one over to Chris. He's going to ship that pot, and nicely played by both. I don't think if we're folding king 10 there, I think it's a correct call. Yeah,
sure.
The only problem is, like, how many bluffs does he really have, and do you beat value hands? You know, would Chris bet a hand that, like a worse king 2 pair, for example? Does he even have that? All of these things that you've got to assess. And most of the time, as a general rule of thumb, if you are considering paying off a bet with like a medium strength hand like that, your question should be, does he value bet with worse? And if he does, most of the time I'm going to be calling, because in the long run it'll even itself out, you know.
Looks like Nick Match is following on from a statement you made earlier on.
Yeah.
If you want to read that out for everyone.
So talking about the short stacking concept in deep aggressive PLO games, I've been around to a couple of poker stops in my time. You do tend to see a lot of kind of Scandinavian guys going absolutely crazy. If you can get in the middle of that action with a short stack, and you can essentially just knit it up, there's no shame in waiting there for a hand that you can commit your stack with. But oftentimes, if you sit with, you know, 50 big blinds or whatever, you're going to find easy opportunities to commit your stack. Maybe you've got like a pot size bet on the flop with a hand like aces, kings, you know, come some kind of suited Broadway rundown or whatever. You're going to be able to sort of drive the action, get isolated behind. You know, those two players are going crazy against each other whilst you're just in the middle with a potential triple up, quadruple up type opportunity.
For sure.
And he says, guy does a ton of work with PLO solvers, is a big advocate. You can check him out on Twitch. Rulaza Poker.
22 call.
Sorry for the mega delayed comment. Saturday night grind, 5 to the hour break for the win. Yeah, thanks for popping in. Really good comment that. Check out Rule Z Poker, because that sounds like an interesting channel. There's so many underrated Twitch streamers that put out great you know, kind of studying content, just don't get the views, because most people want the big sweats, you know, they want the big score, the bright lights, and you know, Vegas and the fucking Mirage, as they say.
I love it. And like you said, there are guys out there that are just crushing these sims. They're study.
They put it all on Twitch.
Free
No
content.
excuses these days, guys, for not getting good at the game. There's so much out there. I don't do enough studying as I should
Both
do.
guilty of
Only
that.
got myself to blame for that. You cannot fool yourself into thinking that a game that's developing as quickly as poker is in the modern day is beatable if you don't put the work in.
For sure.
Whether that be playing or studying or a mix of both. The latter being optimal.
Have to find the fine balance, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're both guilty of that for sure. And obviously, we have spoken about starting to throw in a lot more study sessions into our schedules. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that in the future. And cards are going to be back in the air in about 10-15 seconds time after the dealer has riffled the deck about 3 or 4 times. I still haven't got my Red Bull, and I have heard it gives you wings, so we might be getting a bit loose in the. Do you want a vodka Red Bull? I feel like it's a Saturday night. I feel like we should be having a few drinks.
Should we get a bit loose?
Well,
Someone was talking for a drink
I
stream.
won the free roll, you know.
Oh yeah, you did win the free roll.
Treat you
Spun up
to
a bit of a cash game roll for later. I'm going to
cheeky
be
little
going to
450.
be seeing Henry playing Spheten at 8 in the morning,
No,
absolutely
you're not.
wasted.
That is not happening. That is not happening. We should. Sorry. It's like one of our main floor managers is going to come over to us now, and we're going to give him the good news that we're after some vodka Red Bulls. Hey, buddy, could we just get 2 vodka Red Bulls, please? Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Do you need the money now, or?
7-8 pass.
Perfect. Thank you very much. He's a good man. He runs the floor like a fucking.
Well, that's the first time I think I've ever seen your wallet out, Henry. Christ.
You cheeky
Is there
fuck.
a couple of moths in there? Isn't there? Jesus.
You cheeky fuck. When have you ever got me a drink, for fuck's sake? Unless it was when you had that wristband on it.
Oh,
buddy.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Henry, you want a drink, mate? You
I
want a drink?
know,
Yeah, I'll
yeah.
get you a free one.
Free of
Come
charge,
on.
mate. Fill your boots, lad.
Come on.
Fill your boots.
That was a cheap shot. Cheap shot. Awesome stuff. We do go multi-ways to this limped pot, and swing and a miss for everyone on the 6-6-9 flop. And currently, David with the better of it after turning himself a pair of kings, and it does look like. Oh, I do apologise. It looks like our man, Mr. Ryan Davey, Mr. Metalface, did actually flop trips. That's just me being up for 12 hours on 3 hours sleep, not paying attention there, and he does take that one down, as Kevin did have the nut flush draw additional equity on the turn, and some awesome photos of you going through there.
Yeah,
guys,
just going to be uploading a little feeler out on
Yeah.
Facebook. Please do share it, actually, guys. Really important. Sharing is caring. We provide all of this content for you absolutely free of charge, obviously, on Twitch. And if you wanted to give back, or if you're enjoying the content, if you're hating it, then give us a bit of banter. Why not? We're having a couple of beers and a vodka Red Bull. If Seb's tuning in, actually, vodka Red Bull Seb. Yeah, he'll be happy that he's not in the mix, because I think even the smell sends him over the edge after that crazy night that we had in Marbella.
and it looks like one of our followers is a friend Fire saying, I'll take 2 vodka Red Bulls as well. I tell
Yes,
you what, if
you
you get
will.
yourself down here, I will personally buy you a vodka Red Bull.
Yep.
There you go. Come down, say hi. We love it when
Upswing
people.
times for Henry's dishing out vodka Red Bulls left, right and centre. I love it.
We love it when people from Chatland actually do come down and say hi. We had a guy yesterday, wasn't it? He came down, bought us all a few beers, and yeah, it's really nice to, meet people in the flesh. And it's just one of them things that the Cash Game Festival offers that not many festivals out there do offer, where you get to engage in Chatland and actually come down and, be part of the team down here as well. Not as many big pots as we expected, to be honest with you, to start off with, apart from the one between Ben and Anthony. Maybe we should start sending vodka Red Bulls over to the table as well. Get everyone loosened up a little bit. And guys, George is actually currently going through some of the Cash Game Festival album photos from like the day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 will be released tomorrow. If you haven't already liked our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Cash Game Festival. Just to give you an idea of what kind of promotions we've been doing behind the scenes. Yesterday, the owner of, or the co-founder of the Cash Game Festival, Mr. Franke, he decided to give away £50 free bet to a lucky player at one of the tables. That lady then decided to put that £50 on Belgium to beat England 2-0.
Did she get a free bet, or did she just pump the 50 on?
She got a free bet of £50, put it on Belgium to win 2-0 against England today. What happened? Belgium won 2-0.
I saw her actually sweating the game, didn't you?
She was.
At the end, she was like,
pocketed
every
herself
corner, every free kick, throw in.
£650 cash money.
Yeah, that's a decent little spin up, that, isn't
So,
it? You've had a nice spin up today. Everyone's had a spin up. I've made 75 quid, and all I've got is a bad beat story for the boys.
What happened then? Come on. You've twisted
no
my
bad
arm.
beat stories.
No, come on, I want to hear it. What's happened?
Bad. No, it was more of a bad beat in the way that the person's called off with a hand that they shouldn't have, type thing. It's alright, it's alright.
He doesn't want to go into it, guys. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Really good question from Captain Bose here saying, what's the biggest adjustments to make going from online to live? For example, opening size, bet sizing, general, hand selection, etc. George, I feel like you've got more experience over the past, say, half a year in the online scene.
Yeah.
What would you say?
It's a great question, because you do see, I'd say, a lot more optimal sizings online, and that does. Sorry,
it's
got a bit of a Heineken bubble in there, so I just got rid of that. Right, yeah. So it's more about adjusting to the players, right? You'll find live that people tend to call a shit ton, honestly, and just all the time they're in there, you know, and that's what we call being insensitive to price. That's kind of like an economics term, but it works perfectly in poker as well. They don't care what the size is, they're paying it. So online, you wouldn't often just like bet pot on the flop with top pair, whereas, you know, live, that seems more than reasonable against certain player types, because why not? You know that you've got the best hand.
For sure.
You need to definitely adjust to aggression as well, far more than you would online. There's a lot of spots where people go for like the classic min check raise, check min raise, and that oftentimes in live is a surefire show of strength. And I just feel as though that your sizings need to be bigger for value, and you need to make sure that you are sort of hero folding a lot against sort of extended aggression from players that, you know, online they might be a bluff candidate on the sort of board texture, but live they're just never bluffing, you know, and that's a really important thing that you have to adjust to. Brilliant. You look at the board texture and you think, oh right, well he could have this hand as a bluff, that hand as a bluff, that hand as a bluff. You know, you see bet like an ace, a rainbow ace high board, and you get check raised, and it's just not a board from the blinds that you should get check raised on, and they just not doing it with the gut shot backdoor flush draws like they might online. It's always, you know, 90. You can't say always because you need to qualify your language, but a shit ton it is the value in those kind of situations.
No, that's some really good analysis, Julian. I think another thing that we've spoken about many a times as well is in live there seems to be a lot more, how do I put this, people get emotional. They get emotionally attached to hands, they get emotionally attached to other players. You know, maybe they've lost a couple of pots against a certain player, whereas online, like you said, it doesn't seem to be the case as much, whereas live, people want to go after certain players and they want to go after certain hands. What's going on?
I've got a good mate of mine, Shlomo in the building, is saying, yo, chill with the strap, man, just stick to what you're good at and nick the red balls, which I love to hear. And guys, VKRB's in the building. VKRB for the G-Dog, VKRB for the H-Dog, VKRB's for everybody. Get yourself down to Stratford. Shlomo, where are you, mate? Get yourself up here. It'd be nice to see you, mate. It'd be good to play some cash or just chill out, or yeah, whatever. I'm here for the weekend. It'd be lovely to see you and get yourself in the mix. Are you up to anything tonight? Let me know. Right, so glossed over the action there a little bit, just sort of chatting absolute rubbish about strategy that may or may not have been coherent. And Anthony's gone for the squeeski from the straddle, pumps it up to 50, and Benjamin's going to come along with double suited 9s. I think this is more of a non-standard call, but a call that he's making against a player I think he probably feels quite confident against post-flop, even though he is out of position.
65. Pass. One tumbling.
So flops middle pair, nothing else really going on there apart from the backdoor half flush draw, out of position. Anthony fires a bet at him, he's going to take that down. And we've got the VKRBs.
The VKRBs, that's...
The VKRBs.
Wow. How many of these have you had to...
No, I'm a GDC man, which is Gin Diet Coke, for those of you who don't know. You may think, what the hell is that
That
combination?
sounds disgusting, mate.
But honestly, man, you should try it. I'm famous in some parts of the world for GDC consumption. Slovenia in Italy over the... Actually... that was actually my sort of like icebreaker with the girl behind the bar. I was just like, GDC. She was like, what's that? I was like, you've never heard of a gin and Diet Coke? And she's like, I love it. And I was like, great, let's go out. And she was like, no. And I was like,
Just like straight. It's I'm here to serve you a drink, and that's it. Oh look, man! Cheers to our whoa, guys! You see that? Cheers to our fourth stop
Cheers,
together,
Landboy.
and cheers to Chatland.
Henry Bojangles getting the VKRBs in for the boys.
Just want to shout out to Joe, who's obviously a friend of Ben. You obviously know Ben's a big drinker. Get down there tonight. Me and George are going to be getting loose with Ben, talking a bit of strat, having a bit of banter, maybe playing some Roffle 1-1 game. So yeah, get down there, have a bit of fun with us. It'd be nice to meet another face behind the screen name. It'd be lovely
50.
to have more of you as we do get a bit loose on this lovely Saturday night live from Aspers Casino, bringing you the Cash Game Festival action.
Shlomo grinding that 2-cent deuce to 7. Love to hear it, man. A grind is a grind, mate. Big respect. And L-Chain, boys. Not sure what L-Chain is, do you? Do you know what L-Chain?
I've got to wait for him to
Any
break
idea?
it down.
Is it some sort of, what was it called, an antonym? No, that's where the first letter of each means like a...
An anagram?
No?
I don't
Anagram,
know.
no. What's
I
the
failed-
word for...
Failed year 6 English, so...
Yeah, I mean, I just failed at life, so I've got no idea.
That's why we're here, you know.
No, we love the Cash Game Festival, we really do. And we're having
Wow,
such
this
a good
is-
time.
this is
and
loose from
here
Dave.
we go. Dave comes along. He does have position.
That's true.
Pretty loose. The spades are dominated, which is often going to be the case. You know, if we see 2 spades or even 3, could be curtains for Dave because obviously an inflated pot. What a card that is in the window when you're the 3-better out of position. Lovely to see that the insta service with the set.
Looks like we got the definition in the chat as well.
Is a toast meaning to life.
There you go. And the Cash Game Festival.
Yeah.
120.
Joe Forchima Part says, I'm so fucking hungover, been drinking a week straight. I've been drinking my entire life, mate. What the fuck is that excuse?
That is a bitch excuse right there.
No, I managed to get out of RS actually. My mum sent a letter in saying that I was a devout atheist and that I
Wow.
wouldn't be going to the lessons. And
No
I was
way.
just like, I'm not really that much of an atheist. I mean, I'm probably agnostic at best. But
Alright, let's not talk religion on stream, but just
Yeah.
go to RS. I passed it with flying colours. I think it was one of the only subjects that I passed. Don't ask me how, don't
did
ask
you
me
get the
what.
question? I think we had one in a practical exam before I quit, which was like, there's like questions like, what is the meaning of life? And like, how can you mark that? Because everyone's got their own view, right? And we're getting deep actually.
We are, man.
I've had a Red Bull.
You've had a couple of beers. Guys, apologies on behalf of the Cash Game Festival. When we get a bit loose, we get a bit loose. And
It's all about the 2 for 1 happy hour cocktails. Yeah, baby. Oh, I think I know who that is. It's James Platt. How you doing, buddy?
always looking for that value.
Yeah,
the 2
yeah.
for 1 cocktails.
Always looking for that value. The garden gin.
Oh, he's coming. Joe Apart's coming. He said, you got me there. I don't know if that means you got
I
me
think
there
it's
as in I'm
in.
coming.
We got him there as in.
Oh, he's been drinking for his whole entire
Come
life.
on, mate. Get yourself down there. It'd be lovely to see you.
And how often is it that you actually see Ben out of his basement away from the grind pads? So
These
get
kind of
that-
moments should be cherished and celebrated, guys. 104 of you tuning in to the Cash Game Festival live stream. We've got Red Bull vodka's going. We got some good fun. We got some PLO. Bit of four card for you. I love Joey. You watch some of Joey Ingram stuff?
I love him.
And he's talking about like the 10k PLO is called the 10k main event and stuff like that. And he calls Texas Hold'em 2-card PLO and stuff like that. He's just a really funny guy.
Pop limit Omaha.
Yeah.
He's quality.
Eat, sleep, breathe PLO. Let us know who's tuning in, where you're from. Be nice to get as many of you as possible. Let's understand your background. Let's hear how you got into poker. All about the Cash Game Festival love in here. And so Dave absolutely smashes the flop. These are why these kind of hands are so great. You know, he not only just has the wrap, he's got a flush draw, and he's also got top pair as well to fall back on, should that not be enough. Over 99%.
Looks like Kevin has led out though, so we are sweating with our boy Mr. Kevin Malone here. And we missed the action pre-flop. It looks like Kevin was the initial pre-flop raiser from the hijack, and Dave decided to just flat from the cutoff. And hopefully one of our guys goes over to Kevin and says, Kev, move them 4 cards over to sensor for us, please, because the guys back home would like to see what you got there.
Remind me of Ryan's surname?
Davey. There we go. That pretty face.
Oh yeah.
You not got Kevin on Facebook? You must do.
I think so. Oh, you need to put an at, don't you?
Yeah. There we go.
Who else have we got in the game?
Your friends on Facebook? That's probably...
No, it should be people that have liked the Cash. I'm posting on behalf of the Cash Game Festival,
okay.
so I think people that have liked it, you could add as well. I'm not sure. And Benjamin Volant, does he have?
Don't. No,
Does he have Facebook?
I wouldn't personally.
No, he doesn't like that.
No.
He probably won't have been happy with me saying his surname there either. But there we go.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Come onto the
My
stream.
mistake, pal.
So Dave does bet here after turning the king high flush, and we are still sweating with Kevin. We've seen him in the past turn naked aces into a bluff. We've seen him turn blockers into a bluff. Does decide to call, which makes me feel like he has a hand like ace